All right. Good morning, everybody. If it's morning for you right now watching this. Morning,
It's morning
Justin.
for us.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about after you retire. I've been retired a couple years. You get your pension, and then they do a cost of living adjustment for you,
Right.
which isn't spectacular. It's not that good.
No.
No. Um, the most it can adjust is up to 2%.
Yeah.
So I'll give an example. Like if someone has a pension of $50,000, the most it can adjust is 2%, which would be $1,000 added. The lowest it can go, and I'm going to show you this later. You can find this from PERA's website, but I'm referencing this so you can go in a deeper dive later on your own. The lowest the adjustment can go is 0.05, so 0.5%.
That's still pretty rough.
Yeah. And there's another kicker I've learned because I've been retired about 2 years, that for the first 3 years you're retired, there's no adjustment.
There's no rate, there's no jump up.
Exactly. So let's say my pension was $50,000, year two, year one, 50,000, year two, 50,000, year three, 50,000.
Okay.
So the first 3 years you're falling behind inflation.
Yes.
Year four is when you now get that adjustment, and it can be all the way up to 2%. But right now it's only 1%. So in my example, in year four, you get a $500 bump.
Mm-hmm.
So you go from 50,000 to 50,500.
Okay, that's rough.
Yeah, you're falling behind inflation.
Where does the what's the reasoning behind the 2% or the 1%?
Yeah, good question. On here, and you can read this later on your own, everybody. I'll kind of paraphrase what it's showing. But basically, they want to do this to keep PERA viable. They want to make sure there's enough money for everybody. And they'll adjust it if PERA is doing good, if their investments are doing good and the books look good. They can get it all the way up to 2% and stay there if everything's looking great. But right here, you can see they're on schedule, which is good. But if they're ahead of schedule, that's when they can like jump it up to 2%. If they get behind schedule, that's when it can get as low as 0.5%. So, and I'm leaving some information out that I want you guys to read on your own if you're curious about this. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because your pension's great, and everyone that gets a pension, wonderful. Mm-hmm. But it shouldn't be the only thing you rely on.
True.
Because over the years, you're going to have less money, in a sense, less spending power, because it probably won't keep up with inflation, which the Fed tries to keep at 2% on average. That's their goal, is to keep the inflation levels at 2%.
It's been a couple of years since the nation's been at 2%.
No kidding. It's been bad.
Yeah.
It's been really bad. So that's kind of where it's at. It's really interesting. Back in the old days, PERA used to have a 3% cost of living adjustment. I call it cost of living adjustment, COLA. They use different words. And then you're not just staying with inflation. You could get ahead of inflation.
Nice.
Which was nice. It was a nice gesture from PERA to say, hey, you've worked a long time.
Right.
We're going to keep your pay about the same, your check about the same, maybe even a little more.
So they've dropped that.
Yes.
It's just this increased versus the cost of living and
Exactly. So we can hope that we get ahead of schedule. PERA does with their investment, so we can get to that 2%. But right now it's 1%. So what I suggest to anybody because I can imagine there's teachers out there, Justin, that are saying, I'm just going to live
PERA
off my pension.
Yeah, I got my PERA.
I got my PERA. I'm going to teach 30 years and I'll have a sweet pension, and you will have a good pension. But if that's all you're doing, you're slowly going to have less spending power.
Yeah.
And what's your spouse going to do if you're married? Do they have a pension too? So I would even say with dual teachers, both with pensions, I would still recommend investing on the side and have some money that's coming in besides just your pension. What's your thoughts about that?
If you're investing on the side, are you doing a Roth? Are you doing a 401k? Or are you just throwing it into your own brokerage account? Where should we be doing? What should we be doing?
Any of the above. It'll depend on your situation, but everything would help. Let's imagine someone retires, they have a full pension. This is going to be their reality with that small adjustment after 3 years. Mm-hmm. And they have $300,000, let's say, in an investment.
Okay.
With the 4% rule, which we can talk about later, Google it if you're curious about it now, you can safely pull out roughly 4% of that $300,000. So that's giving you $1,000 each month on top of your pension. That really should help you out as inflation takes off and your pension kind of falls behind. because your pension's basically going to fall behind
Yeah, yeah.
over the years.
It's not going to take much, especially if you're starting off with zero for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
And then if you're in a rough spot where we've been in the past, where you get a 0.5, but inflation's up at 9,
No,
right?
you're absolutely right.
That's painful. So having that little cushion, that's good.
That
That's
can
good. I
buffer
like
it.
that.
Yeah, that can buffer it.
Yeah.
You want to have, ideally, you have multiple streams of income in retirement,
Mm-hmm.
and not just a pension or not just Social Security for people that are paying into Social Security,
Right.
because that's probably not going to be enough for the lifestyle that you want to have.
Right.
You might be able to get by. You can get by if you only have a pension, but do you only want to get by, or do you want to have that?
Do you want to enjoy it?
Yeah.
Do you actually want to have the same lifestyle?
Yeah, at least the same lifestyle,
Yeah.
ideally, or maybe even travel a little bit more now that you have more free time. Maybe.
Right, right.
Now that you're done raising kids or teaching,
Yep.
you might want to even spend a little more.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, and it's been tough, like you talked about inflation going up really a lot the last few years.
Yeah.
So people that retired 3 years ago, just 2 years ago, we're feeling it.
Yeah,
We're
of course,
just
of course.
because we're not getting that increase. But
Nope.
thankfully for me and others, I imagine, I hope, I invested on the side too, so I
Yeah.
have some other income coming in besides
Okay.
just my pension.
So I like what you said there with the multiple streams. So if you have your pension,
Yeah.
and then you have a 401k,
Yeah.
and a Roth, and a on the side
Sure.
brokerage, does that count as
I would
different
clump
streams
those,
of income?
yeah,
or-
I would clump those investments into one. Basically, you're getting money from the stock market.
Okay.
Um,
So I've got my PERA,
yeah,
and then I have my investments.
through the stock market. Let's say.
However I do it, 401k, Roth, or on my own brokerage.
Exactly, because they could all equal like 300,000 for my example.
Okay.
And you're pulling, let's say, 1,000 every month as kind of your income in retirement, so to speak.
Okay.
So
then
that's two legs to the three-legged stool.
Yeah, and then I could do real estate.
Real estate's your third leg.
Right. So I could have real estate income. I could have stock income, and my PERA income.
I love it.
So that definitely makes things, your lifestyle, pretty steady.
A lot more stable. Exactly. We talk about the three-legged stool.
Mhm.
Like the more legs you have on your stool, the safer you are, the more stable you are. Some
Yeah.
people only have one. They're on what is that kind of a pogo where
Pogo stick.
you're on a pogo stick and
My balance not that good.
Like Social
Go
Security
down.
better work out for me or I'm going to fall over.
Right,
Or
right.
just your pension.
Yeah.
Some people only have two, and it's better than one.
Right.
So like investments and a pension. And then
Mhm.
some people, like Justin talked about, might have a third, like real estate.
Right. You might even have a business that you started, a little side hustle. Maybe it's a landscaping during the summer for teachers or something, right?
Yeah.
A little business on the side. So now you get your 4 legs.
I love it. Yeah.
So-
Because when you retire as a teacher, you're probably not going to be 80 years old retiring.
Hopefully.
Although there's a few that look like they're 80.
Right.
And so on.
That's usually on Fridays. though,
Yeah,
when we're-
Friday. That's a good point. That's after
We
a tough
perk
week.
back up on the weekends.
So you might, yeah, if you can get that fourth stream of income, like working 10 hours a week, something that's enjoyable or
Yeah, a
laid
little
back,
part-time something.
that's part of your income for a while, for sure, too, while you have the health to do it.
Nice.
So,
But I think this is super important to understand, though. Like, okay, you've got your PERA, you've got your pension.
yeah,
Just know that it doesn't keep up with inflation.
exactly.
You get at most a 2%.
Yes, at most. No, that's the takeaway we want you to have from this.
Yeah.
That just do not rely only on your pension. Look at other ways to create some income, real estate, the stock market investments, side hustle, things
Yeah.
we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I will mention one more thing while we're here.
Heck yeah.
Everybody's paycheck right now, and this is 2024, 11% is taken out for PERA. So if you're
Mhm.
making I'm keeping the math simple. If you're making $100,000 this year, and there's some teachers doing that,
Yeah.
you now have $89,000 because 11% is going into PERA that will be used later for yourself if you have a pension.
Yeah.
And then you have FICA too, which is Medicare, 1.45%. So you're paying about 12.5% out of your paycheck
Mhm.
to this. When you retire, I'm just giving a little side note, you no longer pay into either of those. So in a way, your pension's more than you might think about or realize.
Right. But I think I like this piece where they automatically take it out, because it's one less thing that I have to think about as a teacher. It's automatically pulled out. So if you're in the same boat where it's automatically pulled out from your paycheck, great. If you're not in the same boat, maybe you need to look at your finances and figure out, could you do a 10% into along with additional investing?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. So that's kind of where we're at with this one. It's just something to think about because I imagine there's 40-year-old teachers, 35-year-old teachers that aren't investing right now,
Right.
aren't in real estate as an investment, and they're like, I got the pension. Uh,
You might need more.
you might need more. And you might not retire with a full pension, which is 75% of your highest 3 years for older teachers and the highest 5 years for the younger teachers that started after, I think it's 2000.
Yeah.
You might want to double check that, see where you're at on the PERA tables. There's 9 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, please, like, start investing. Try to create multiple streams of income for now and in your future.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic news or fantastic information.
Any last thoughts about all this?
I do echo exactly what you said. You know, your pension is nice, but you need a little bit more.
Exactly. Like, think about how many times we heard it with Social Security. Like,
Right.
older people, and that's all they have, and they're just barely getting by, living in the smallest apartment if they can afford it, just surviving. That's a little more extreme than this, but that's kind of the same mindset.
Yeah, exactly. So just double check where you're at. What do you have available? Right? Are you in Colorado? You've got your PERA. Do you need to readjust some of your own lifestyle so that you can do a 401k or a Roth or your brokerage? Right? What else can you do?
Yeah, exactly. All right. That's all we got for you.
Easy.
Right on. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye.